the founder of GoodDoctors.Health, and today we are going to be talking about reversing disease naturally. So, one of the big things that we are always doing and always looking at is, or the people that we work with, they want more natural solutions. They want to know what can I be doing with my diet, my lifestyle, my supplementation. They don't want to be on more and more prescription medications. But there's always this concern with regards to, like, is can this work? Does this actually work? Because we've been really indoctrinated for many many years that if like traditional healthcare is the only option, it's the only real option, everything else is just an alternative. And so there's just a lot of skepticism out there, and I get that and I understand. So I really do want to address this real concern is, like, if I have like a real problem. So a lot of individuals, they're like, well, I don't really have any problems. So yeah, I can definitely go that more holistic. I can definitely go that more alternative route. But what about my family members? What about my partner? What about the people who I love who have really serious conditions? Can they use natural alternatives to improve their health? And let me just start off by saying, when you're talking about chronic health conditions, so something that somebody has had for a long period of time, I'm talking, months, years, decades. As a general rule, and this is a very, really overwhelming percentage of chronic disease, natural is the only way you're going to reverse it. As a general rule, medications just mask and manage those conditions. It is very, very rare to have any chronic condition that has a pharmaceutical intervention that will actually reverse the disease process, will reverse the disease. It will manage it, it will get it under control, it'll be make the symptoms more easy to live with. It may even bring people into more acceptable, biomarker ranges. But as a general, it will not reverse the disease. It will just impact. All it will do is it will impact the biomarkers and management of it. So from just a definition side of it, if you want to reverse disease, natural is about the only way to go. Um, because otherwise you're really just keeping the disease going for longer periods of time. So, I find that really, really interesting, because even whenever individuals are talking about, they're talking about, like, can this work? I'm like, it is your only option if you have chronic disease. Now, I want to be clear, acute conditions, I really do feel like fit into a little bit of a different category sometimes. There are some infections that can really benefit from some intervention. A lot of people would feel a lot better with, some intervention there. Um, but as a general, really, this is the way. So let's just talk about a few examples, just real practical. Heart disease. Heart disease is the number one disease process killer in our nation. And okay, so we have tons and tons of medications that are used to manage the various effects with regards to heart disease, but none of them reverse it. They manage it, they keep the symptoms in regulation, they keep the biomarkers at a level, but it's not reversing the disease. Now, have we seen people naturally reverse the disease? Absolutely. And I doubt there's anyone watching this who doesn't know an example of somebody who has naturally reversed their heart disease through diet, through exercise, through some good grounding and stress management. There are a ton of ways to naturally reverse heart disease. And in fact, not only, here's what I love about this, not only do you reverse the heart disease, but you're healthier in every other way at the same time. And isn't that what's beautiful? So, I mean, we can go into all of the different ones. Another huge one in our country is type 2 diabetes. Type 2 diabetes, while there are so many medications and so many different injections and all these different things. Now I'm talking about type 2 diabetes, not type 1. Type 2 diabetes, if you are going to reverse, like truly reverse type 2 diabetes, diet and exercise, it's just about the only way to do it. Everything else is just going to manage that blood sugar while your disease process continues to get worse. And I'm going to tell you, those I know a lot of you who've been following me know that I'm very close with the biblical nutritionist, Annette Reader. She does an amazing job. I do so much lab work for the people in the biblical nutritionist community. It is so fascinating how, because of the way that that community eats, it is incredibly rare for me to find somebody who has been following the biblical nutritionist and her community that still has type 2 diabetes. I almost never see it. Every so often, somebody will pop up and I'm like, oh my gosh, they're in this community. And I find out, oh, they just joined like a week ago. I'm like, okay, because it is so rare. Because it does reverse. It reverses naturally, and that particular way of eating has just done a phenomenal job. So, and by the way, just a huge fan. Huge shout out to Annette Reader and our team and what they've done. It really is incredible to see these individuals and how their labs are so different from you know what we consider normal in normal societies, lab work. So diabetes. Let me give you another example that I see all the time, like kidney disease. Well, let me just tell you, there's really not a lot of medications for kidney disease anyway. So if somebody has kidney disease, most of the time they're being told, we're just going to kind of, we're just going to watch. We're going to just watch and see. We're going to wait and see. I'm sorry, not watch and see. We're going to wait and see. You hear that a lot with kidney disease, because there aren't any drugs. The problem with kidney disease for the pharmaceutical industry is that the kidneys are filtration systems. So they filter out all of the drugs. So it's really hard to medicate kidneys. So pretty much the process with kidneys is just to watch them go down and down and down and down until the point where they're so damaged that you require dialysis or a replacement. So that's, I mean, which is a terrible protocol. And trust me, everybody knows it. This is no secret. And the specialists, they too. But have we seen kidney disease reverse? Absolutely. Absolutely. Again, changing up the diet, using different nutrients. There are some very specific supplements that have had incredible results with. Proper hydration, very simple things that naturally reverse it. Now, and we could go into liver is the same way. I know I can tell you, I don't know how many hundreds of people now that I've seen who have been diagnosed with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease who have been able to reverse it. I mean, it's in the hundred. I mean, it's so common now. I don't even question somebody's ability to reverse their liver disease, especially like I said, if you can catch it early before it gets a ton of momentum. Man, it's awesome. Let me give you one other one before I let you guys go. Another one that just about only way to reverse it is naturally is autoimmune. We're seeing so much more autoimmune, and I think I could get into a whole thing, or I won't do autoimmune today. But autoimmune is becoming such a huge epidemic, and there really aren't great medical prescription uh, tools. I mean, it is totally managing the symptoms, managing the pain, managing all of the different things that come with the myriad of different autoimmunes. But have we seen people reverse autoimmunes naturally? Absolutely. Absolutely. It happens all the time. You just have to get down to the real root cause. So let me just dive into one section of this. So if this is so common, and it's, I mean, and again, even as you're listening to it, you're like, yeah, that's kind of common sense. So why is it not common? Why is this not the standard in healthcare? And can I tell you a hard truth? Um, it's because a lot of your traditional healthcare practitioners It's this is such a painful truth, but it is what it is. They have been conditioned by their patient base that they're not going to do it. They're not going to do the right things. So they have been conditioned to believe, what's the point of even trying to help, even if they know what to do? And then I know a lot of, I mean, let's say your doctor does have the knowledge and does know how to do this, and they have the time, which they don't. Let's say they have both of those things. They have been disappointed so many times by the overwhelming percentage of patients who won't do anything. I'm going to give you an example. I had an individual who came in and who was talking about her type 2 diabetes, and she really wanted help with her type 2 diabetes. And I'm like, absolutely, happy to help you. When I was going through, I'm like, okay, here's what we need to be doing with your diet. She's like, what about M&Ms? And I'm like, oh, that's gonna be a problem. A lot of sugar in M&M. She goes, well, I'd rather die than give up my M&Ms. Okay, so here is just where I want to be clear that, like, that conversation happens so much, and especially when individuals, they're so unaware of how awesome you can feel there whenever individuals. it, I just had this conversation today with an incredible gentleman who, he was really going this natural route, and he was telling me very, very authentically and just being so honest about it. He's like, when I first was hearing about, changing how I eat, and whenever I was first hearing about what I needed to do, I thought that sounded horrible. I thought that sounded like something I could never do. And and he said, I was just a didn't I don't want anything to do with it from the get-go. And he said, but as I started watching my wife, and I started just seeing, she was eating this way, she was exercising, and just seeing, like, okay, wait, oh wait, okay, that food's not so bad. Actually, that looks pretty good. And wait a second, this feels really good. And you know what? Maybe I should try a little bit more of that exercise. And he was talking about how, slowly, piece by piece, he's really come around to a different way of thinking about how he is reversing his own health concerns. And I think that's just so many of us. Whenever whenever, if it's not being presented in the right way, we can just feel like this is, all the happiness and the joy is just being sucked out of my world by living a lifestyle like this. But it's just not true. It's just not true. So, and that's what so many of you who, been working with me, you've been going down this journey. You've been really discovering that, like, piece by piece, adding one thing at a time, you're really finding that, not only is this process of reversing disease, not only is it better for you, not only does it reverse the disease, but it it improves all aspects of of your overall life. I mean, because when you have more energy, when you have more stamina, when you don't feel horrible after you eat, whenever you have that extra gear of energy, every evening, I mean, all of that adds up to your entire quality of life. And that's what I love about naturally reversing disease, because it's not just about reversing the one disease, but it's taking your whole health to just an incredible another level. So I thank you so much for this opportunity to share with you. Please leave some comments, questions, anything that you would like me to be diving into. We'll be doing these. Um, I just love being able to dive into the topics that you care about most.